So Joseph Kent, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, has resigned, and he's penned, or rather typed, this letter. I'm going to read it and do a quick little personal note on it before I get to my main point of the video, which is not to give some weird conspiracy theory about the whys, because no one really knows, but to just kind of mention how the left wing, they can't ever forgive anybody for anything. Not that he's asking for forgiveness, and he has his other beliefs that I understand they're strong against, but this is like kind of big for them, you would think anyway. Like any kind of person of this level resigning from the Trump administration and saying anything negative about Trump. And you would assume that the left wing would do something to try and draw them in, right? But instead, they just throw knives at them, which is indicative of the left wing's mentality. But before we get to that, his letter. President Trump, after much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Effective today, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no immediate threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values of the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016-2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into a never-ending war. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. Defeating is a strong word there. Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an immediate threat to the United States and that you should strike now, as there was a clear path to victory, to swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war, which cost our nation the lives of thousands of the best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a manufactured war by Israel, sort of just totally reading that backwards. Sorry about that. I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what you're doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further towards decline and chaos. You hold the cards. It was an honor to serve in your administration and to serve our great nation. I made a few tiny mistakes there as I was trying to read it quickly, as everyone's already heard it by this point, I would imagine. But he's very weird here because this guy has made a lot of sentiment about helping Israel in the past, helping them against ISIS, helping them against Hezbollah, stuff like that. He's been in favor of this stuff. But it's like an Oreo because he's blaming Israel for Iraq and for Iran. And yet in the middle, he's in favor of helping Israel. So like, what? As long as I think it's just this concept of the forever war, which he mentions. It's again, it's like a boogeyman. You can't say anything about the Middle East without someone saying, "Oh, forever war, forever war, forever war, no, forever war, not allowed, forever war." It like even the notion of it, you're not allowed to talk about it. Like no, you can't talk about that. That's racist. No, you can't talk about that. That's sexist. No, you can't talk about that. Anti-Semitic, Islamophobic. Like you can't have a real conversation about certain things because someone will just scream forever war constantly. And that's sort of what it feels like, because he was in favor of these little tiny strikes, which he says were perfect in dealing with Qasem Soleimani and defeating ISIS. They didn't defeat ISIS. They might have killed one person, but another person will pop up. Like these people, their religion, their mentality, it's been around since before I was born. It's been affecting the USA since before I was born. It's been around since before this nation existed, for that matter. So this mentality that Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, I don't like how people phrase that. Like, you can have a very long conversation about that because obviously no one's thinking that they have ICBMs or MIRVs or nukes or anything like right now. But they have proven that they are not in any remote way friendly, nor are they willing to be friendly as long as the current regime stays in control. And so what do? Do you just sit there, as I've said this in other videos, do you just sit there forever? And as time has shown, they will continue to be like that forever do you sit there forever allowing this gateway to spawn infinite zealots shouting, "My life for ire, Intaro Adun, Tassadar"? Do you just allow this forever? A constant thorn in the side, and to your surrounding people. And okay, they're no imminent threat to the USA, but what about other places? Israel's our ally, right? I mean, what if they have a method to attack Italy, Spain, Portugal? I mean, Germany, the UK, France. Where is the red line here? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like they've never been in any way allied with us, and some of the people want it, and this is a good time to try and do it. And a lot of people would just say to not do anything. So anyway, that's the mentality of this guy, the mentality of a lot of people. Now, I really wanted to talk about how the left has treated him, because he's as this person quoted, he served in the U.S. Army for 20 years, where he completed 11 combat deployments in the Middle East and other high-threat regions. During his time in the Army, he served with the 75th Ranger Regiment, Army Special Forces, and U.S. Armed Special Operations Command, and received numerous military recommendations, including 6 Bronze Stars. And then he went to be in a CIA Special Activity Center and such. And apparently his wife also passed in the war. And so he's got a lot invested in this, and he's obviously a patriot. He's obviously done his part. So I'm not bashing on him for his opinion. People are nuanced. They are very nuanced. There's no black and white to most things. I come to a different conclusion that he does, but then again, I didn't go through all the crap that he went through, and I don't have all the information he has. Obviously, he's got way more information than I do, which is nothing really. I have conspiracy theories, but look at how people treat this. I mean, the response to this guy's credentials was someone saying, "Dude was regiment guy, group guy, and SAC guy, badass." Edit. In summary, without doing any type of research, according to the replies, the guy is a total douche and an inzy. Some turds float too. Right. Well, without doing any research, that's your own words, without doing any type of research, according to the replies on Reddit. That's all it takes. All it takes for you to accuse someone. So just moving on to a list of a couple of the threads talking about this. This one's very left-leaning sub. Just top comments. Someone saying that the guy's a Republican standing 10 toes down. You're impressed. And then everyone else is disagreeing with him. It's not 10 toes down. He's still kowtowed to Trump by suggesting that he was tricked into the war, which is ridiculous. I mean, Trump has autonomy. He wasn't really tricked into going into the war by mainstream media. He's not wrong about the war, but he's still an a-hole. He's had problems with the other shite that's being done. Or he had no problem with the other shite that's being done. You can also see how he lines up with Tucker and right-wing a-holes. They're primed to blame Israel for the quagmire of the Iran war. I'm not going to give any credit to anyone who spent a year in the administration, which is an odd thing to say. So anyone who spent even 1 year in the Trump admin gets no credit from them. They're basically not even a human then. And is anti-vax, etc. So they're putting 1 year of being in the Trump admin along with being anti-vax. And they're saying that just being anti-vax means that they're not going to give you any credit. So nothing you say matters to them if you're anti-vax or if you've been 1 year in the Trump admin. And you know that someone like this is also one of those people who says defund the police, which is what credit is there to give them? Who cares about what they say? Okay, here's another one from a totally different thread. So now it is official. The war in Iran is for the benefit of Israel and has nothing to do with America. Someone responded with saying, "You believe this is the one person in the admin who has their stuff together and tells the truth?" And they responded by saying, "I don't believe anyone from the Trump administration," which this guy was. However, this guy is an insider of the intelligence business, and his claim about Israel is backed up by many others, plus the circumstantial evidences. And they were responded to by the same person saying, "I don't believe anyone from Trump's admin. However, this guy is telling the truth because... ... the end." Exactly. These people only believe in the narrative they want to believe in. They don't listen to anything else. They attack anyone that they don't like, and they're not going to make allies with anybody. And it's never going to happen that people join the left willingly anymore, because now the left's insanity is blatant. The only people they can get are the children that they brainwash fresh out of school, or still in school for that matter. That those are the only soldiers they're going to be adding to their group, and other than that, they're just going to be cannibalizing themselves constantly. So, I mean, this is it's just a prime example of what is happening with the left wing, and the right wing too. I mean, there is a lot of fracturing when it comes to conspiracy theories and religion and stuff like that. Joe Kent seems to be kind of all over the place with his beliefs. I don't know if he lost his mind or what, but again, like you can't be against the Iraq war and then in favor of helping Israel and then against the Iran war and then blame both the Iraq war and the Iran war on Israel and say that we're being manipulated by them and such. And it's just he's very much all over the place. He's very pro Trump, but then he's going to resign and say all this stuff is because of Trump. But then also it's not really because of Trump, because Trump is being manipulated by the media. Like, just he's not saying anything straight. So either he has some super top secret intel that he can't outright talk about because he'll be, CIA'd, or he's insane. One of the two. I mean, appreciate your service in the military, but I get the feeling like he might be going a little bit Lulu, And then Redditors, they're already Delulu. But that's where I wanted to go with this, really, is that this guy was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center in the USA, and he basically just dipped out and said, well, Trump, you've gone mad. We're being screwed over here. We shouldn't be doing this. And the left throws knives at him instantly. Not even, like, there's a handful of people who are saying, like, oh, good, a guy's come over to our side, and then the rest of them are ripping the person apart, throwing caltrops and landmines in his way. He's never going to make it to the left. There's no chance anyone would. The left are totally screwing themselves. And I suppose the right are too. Anyway, I thought it was funny. It's always funny to watch the left purity test themselves to death. So, that's all there is. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.